We all stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a roll call of the members present, please.
Ms. Conover?
Present.
Mr. Whitten?
I'm here.
Mr. Paparad?
Here.
Mr. Biggs?
Here.
Mr. Rivas? Mr. Polari?
Here.
Ms. Graham?
Here.
And 6 members present, you have one, sir.
Perfect. Mr. Rivas called, he will be about 5 minutes late, and he will be along shortly. Before we start with the agenda, I think that perhaps it might be appropriate for us just to take a moment. I think everybody has seen or heard now the tragedy here in town, the vehicle accident, to fairly serious or very serious injuries. So I thought it might be appropriate for us to take a moment, give our thoughts and our prayers to the two ladies that are struggling in the families. Thoughts and prayers go out to them and the families. Let's have first reading.
Following additional appropriations come before you this evening for your consideration. The Porter County General Fund in the amount of $1,151.26. The Porter County Seeded Fund in the amount of $20,000. The Porter County Auditor Non-Reverting Fund totaling $129,768.03. The Porter County Innkeepers Tax Collection Fund $2,000. The Porter County Enbridge Grant $2,000. And a reduction to the Porter County General Fund of Porter County Extension Services 1,000-1023-1120-23 hourly in the amount of $8,000.
We're going to jump out of order here just for a minute because Councilman Rivas has to say that he'd be here for the Opera House discussion, so I'll extend my courtesy. Cume Bridge, 1135-0000-91. Transfer of $40,000 from 3620 Highway 149 extension to 2361 culverts, transfer to pay for 2 slip lining projects.
Correct.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion on this. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Transfer is approved. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sheriff, 1000-1005-05. We have additional 1151.26 to 1130 overtime, reason HIDA DEA MFTF overtime reimbursement. We have a motion, and there is a second. Discussion.
No, it's overtime reimbursement. Reimbursement by the highway.
Any other questions? Hearing none, let's get a roll call.
Mr. Whitten?
Yes.
Mr. Paparad? Mr. Biggs? Mr. Polari?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Ms. Conover?
Yes.
6-0 in the affirmative, sir.
And Sheriff's Garage with several transfers, 8,500 and 500 for various reasons to cover additional parts and repair costs in 2014. What's your pleasure? Motion, I assume, is for all transfers? Correct. And a second concurs. Great. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfers are approved. E911 surcharge 1222-0000-31. Transfer 10,000 from 1110 salaries to 1120 hourly to cover potential shortfall in part-time beginning in November. Experience more than normal output because of training and coverage of shifts. Any funds not used by the end of the year will revert back to unallocated surcharge funds.
Motion approved. Second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bridge grant. Additional $2,000 from 4510 data processing to purchase mobile data laptop computers to the focus of the grant. What's your pleasure?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion on this?
They're gonna be used for, right now, there's a big push on the fire department side to get mobile data computers, just as the officers have used for years and years and years, to get those into fire apparatus. And if there are any, fire departments that, were struggling to purchase their own laptops, we might loan them out to them for they're able to do those purchases.
So currently, the fire districts or fire positions don't have, they haven't been introduced to that technology.
The fire departments, correct, fire departments historically in our county have not used those computers in their vehicles.
And they're asking.
I can see the use. Yeah. Surprised it's big.
Okay.
Is this what they're doing, or we have to do this one time deal? This is for members pipe.
So, I brought our grant writer, this is Jamie Bogan, she's,
It's a renewing grant, we're doing it every year. We're applying for a grant, so.
This is for members pipe.
Yes.
Any other questions? Hearing none, let's have a roll call, please.
Mr. Paparad?
Yes.
Mr. Biggs?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
yes,
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Ms. Conover?
Yes.
Mr. Whitten?
Yes.
6-0 in the affirmative.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Innkeeper's tax collections, $2,000 to 3520 water and sewage. Change in the way the town of Porter calculates stormwater and wastewater use.
This is this one.
No, I'm correct. Okay, so I did see this for no reason whatsoever.
I'll make a motion on the transfer. For the addition, on the addition, I'm sorry.
We have a motion on the additional, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Biggs?
Yes.
Mr. Rivas?
I have no idea what you're voting on.
You're abstaining then, sir? Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Ms. Conover?
Yes.
Mr. Whitten?
Yes.
Mr. Paparad? 6-0 in the affirmative, 1 abstention.
All right, very good. Let's go back to Veteran Services. 1000-1027-27. Very good.
I'll make the motion on the transfer.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Extension Office, reduction of appropriation, $8,000 from 1120 hourly, reducing our 2014 budget to achieve 10% reduction. We have five motions in 3 seconds. Any discussion?
Yes, that's great news.
Great. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's get a roll call on this, please.
Mr. Rivas?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Ms. Conover?
Yes.
Mr. Whitten?
Yes.
Mr. Paparad? Mr. Biggs?
Yep.
7-0 in the affirmative, sir.
You can tell that officer.
That's right. Pretty man. Let's go back to seated special projects 1112-2091-30. Now that Councilman Rivas has graced us with his presence. Additional $20,000 to.
Not for the record.
20,000 to 3980 event expenses, funding assistance, Opera House. What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Hearing no discussion?
Let's ask for more money.
Let's have discussion. Any discussion on this?
What's the, where's this budget at right now?
I think that's actually not current to where county shows us,
What is
right?
the current staff position?
So this is out of unallocated, correct? There is no.
I would know, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. What is the current cash position of the opera house?
Well, of the opera house.
Correct, I'm sorry, I did not, I did say this one. Just said the opera house.
No, let's see this.
I'm not seeing it.
This is the ledger for the opera house. The funds for the opera house, the current balance is negative 10,800. This is one. Now you wanna look at their budget, where they stand.
What's causes
There are actually several factors involved. We're working on the season that we didn't plan, and the person who had been there, the executive director previously, hadn't been there long enough to see the cycle of funds that are needed throughout the year. So it was not planned to where we would have a large show to bring in cash flow to carry through till we had another one. We can't do blockbusters every time we do blockbusters. So now, this, we have 3 large shows at the end of this year. We really need something. So a lot of the information I gave you, for instance, in 2015, we have bookended our season with 2 very large years, 2 very large shows. So that we have Les Mis, we can go to the end of the year, we have Christmas Carol at the end. And we've actually cut down the shows so that we can open the number of shows, sorry, so that we can open the venue up to more outside rentals. We are doing a lot of weddings now, a lot more just like fundraisers, that kind of thing.
Hugely successful fundraiser.
Yes. So it's been a learning process for all of us here throughout the last 2 years. And I think we have it next year. But I don't see, I've talked to the marketers about the ACI, and they are putting together a market plan for next year with our current budget. And they are also putting them together for us. I got them for 40% increase in ticket sales. I want to see how far apart those two are and where we need to be to get us to like the other products.
And I think you're supporting the, what's it called?
Foundation.
Foundation.
Right.
We've got, I know.
They're thinking, yeah.
So, yeah, there's some, there's some plans.
You weren't here, you missed that.
So there's some plans with that board to do some,
Yes, we're actually having a fundraiser next month. Jackie Dustin's heading it. It's called the Newlywed Game Porter County Style. And we have some well-known couples in the area that will be on our stage playing. Should be a lot of fun and to bring a lot of people. We partner next year with South Shore Orchestra. They will be coming in for 4 evening performances and 7 daytime performances. And they have a large following, which hopefully they'll bring with them as well. We have concerts set up already throughout next year.
So what is the rental fee for Memorial House?
Actually, it varies based on the venue, what their demands are, how long they're in there. If they're going to do a wedding, it's $750.
how about a divorce?
Party?
I'm ready.
If you were married there, it's more.
Or is it relatively around like 500 to 800, whatever?
It's $750 for a wedding, and actually, if someone wants to come in and do a concert, it's $1,500 just for them to come in because of the time that they have to be there for load in, load out.
Okay.
But then you're charged as the more things they need.
Michelle, as you know, the Memorial Opera House is supposed to be sold, so is there something that you can tell this board that would convince us that we'll get this $20,000 back? You don't think that's possible?
Laughter's always a bad sign.
No, I
Well, I respect the honest.
I would love to tell you that that's how next year's going to turn out, but there's just so many factors involved.
Do you think it's possible that we have to forget about this year, but for next year, some support?
The budget doesn't actually turn in next year, I know this is the budget hearing, but it's $60,000 less
getting things, in line, and it's gonna take some time to get it, money to get it back.
You know the finances of the county.
Yes, sir.
Keep it going, they're part of the day-to-day operation. I think the move forward will be less and less big opportunities for the companies now in that position to see it. So I hope that you guys success in moving to be a soft stadium over there, partnering with other departments. That of course, becomes less and less personal.
She does not ever want to see you.
You're not the only one.
How many times have you been told that to like?
A lot in this room.
I don't know.
So this is one time, and this will give you enough to balance out your year.
Okay, any further discussion? Let's have a roll call.
Mr. Blair?
No.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Ms. Conover?
Yes.
Mr. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Paparad? Yes. Mr. Biggs?
No, I'm sorry.
Mr. Reader?
No.
4-3, any opposed?
All right.
Good luck.
Okay, auditor non-reverting. The additional of $129,768.03 to $39.50 contractual services to cover expenses for the rest of 2014. Moved. With the motion. No.
No, we don't.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's a second for discussion. Okay, well, we started this discussion some months back. I think we wanted to have our assessor here at the time that we had, and he's here. Come on, assessor. I think there were some questions about exactly the expenditures, and I think there was some. So, what's your pleasure? What's your questions?
Well, my first question is because we've been tabling this until the assessor could do it. Wasn't your request last month for the same reasoning, 79?
Yeah, actually, what got reconciled in that period of time was the identification that there was a $70,000 bill due for pictometry in addition to the $17,000 deposit that we already placed down. And so what we did is we requested $150,000, you granted us $50,000 to clear up the bills that we had to basically deal with, that had accrued from prior time. And what we're asking for now is the balance of that to be able to satisfy what we need to be able to meet our obligations to the end of the year. And then we added in the approximately $70,000 that we're going to need to pay the pictometry bill for the assessment.
John, what's been paid that you're aware of for the assessor's office? Maybe we just get this a little bit. Do you have any?
Oh, I thought he was waving at me, so. I think we had $140,000 at some point. I think that's the last 2 years. I wasn't sure, wasn't able to determine what the first year accumulated total was, but I would assume somewhere around $250,000 would be my.
Over 2 years?
Over the whole period, since 2011 through now.
All right. And so, how much has been paid? Well, you guys actually.
Basically, we have the governor's bill, what's left of what's needed for your pictometry, and it's saying you need $52,541.
That sounds about right as far as that.
So we need $53,000 for pictometry.
That's not the bill that I have in my desk.
What's the rate?
The bill I have a bill for $69,000 and some
You
change.
paid 17 of that?
No, that's in addition to the $17,000.
I thought it was subtracted from the
No.
17%. That was 53?
No, that's not what I have. I just have the bills that were given.
How much is the fund brought in since the inception of the fund?
1.6 million, thereabouts. And the actual numbers on that, what we paid out for the assessor, we paid out $440.87 in 2011. We paid out
Okay, let's slow down, say it again.
400.
You're saying 450,000?
$440.87.
$440?
Right, $440.87 in 2011. Remember, we started the T2 on
Okay.
11, so a lot of those bills we saw into the next year.
Let's go into 12.
So in 12, it was $333,274.89.
Okay.
In 2013, it was $78,183.65.
Okay.
In 14 so far, it's been $41,678.18. And then with the $69,615 balance that we show owed to optometry, it brings the total overall to $523,192.59.
Your estimation is about half. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess it just depends on what, the auditor uses the optometry. You can't just say it's just the assessor, it's used by 10 other departments across the county. So it may have been my idea, but it's used multilaterally, so.
Yeah, all I that's very well the case, just like our WOW system that we pay for, everybody uses, and the XSOP system he pays for, we pay for licenses, so there's always that crossover. The only question I'm answering is what specifically claims that were turned in, signed by a representative of the assessor's office, that were paid out of non-reverting. So there's a claim with a signature, with non-reverting's number, that's all that this is. So yes, John's absolutely right. Pretty much everything we've done crosses over between, that's why we did it, between the departments, and optometry is incredibly invaluable for everybody, including us. We use it every day.
Is there any, okay, and I don't know how much this matters, I'm just curious, I think, because that was part of the questions before. For like the assessor's office, that's why I wanted you here.
Sure.
Has there been any claims paid that's specific to his office for things that he requested and that his office exclusively used?
Exclusively uses? No, not at all.
It's part of the confusion. All right.
No, not at all. We're not, if you're trying to interpret that we're paying his bills with that fund, not at all. In fact, everything that we do has to have a touch with respect to increasing the efficiency of the accounting function by definition. So we couldn't do that with the money, by definition.
So what do we have left, to pay for 2014? What's left to pay?
For auditor?
Yeah.
Okay, for the.
Out of this fund,
Perception.
no, out of your fund, what are you proposing? So the 179,000 that you're requesting, or 129,000?
That should get us to the end of the year.
And specifically, all right, so of that 129,000, roughly 70,000 is.
That's what I show.
Okay.
That's what I show. In the event I don't, that would be left in the fund by the end of the year.
And then the remaining 59,000, what's that?
Digital research that's finishing up our scanning. Some of it is Canon for the remainder of the investigatory work he's going to do for the remainder of the year under the balance of his contract. It's going to be to Mr. Buckley for any PWO hearings that remain with respect specifically to homestead violations that are being appealed. It's going to go to Sender and Company that will be doing any of the abstracts that are required.
Let's hold on, let's kind of itemize this a little bit so we understand. So to start with the first thing, the digital, how much?
Again, those bills will vary by the amount of work that's done on a given month.
What do you have?
I would say, I think our estimate was about 5,000 a month is what we have for the remainder of the year.
And is there any unpaid as we sit here? Or
No.
are we talking about what?
No, with the money that you provided, that you gave me permission to spend last month, got everything, we got everybody paid off.
So we got roughly September, October, November, 4 months left of that, so maybe 20,000 you're thinking?
Yeah, that'd be about right.
And then how much have you allocated to, not counting the attorney, we'll get to that in a minute, but consulting?
Well, I've got the attorney in consulting, we see a couple of, yeah, okay. I think, again, they don't have that much left on their contract, so they're probably between all of them, probably 10,000, 15,000. between all of them.
Including the attorney or no?
No, not including the attorney.
How much have you allocated to attorney legal?
That would be the balance, and again, some of that carry,
30?
again, see, some of what happens here is that if someone's going to appear before the PWO, in some cases, they're not going to have an attorney counsel with them, or they're going to come to us with a request, and we're not going to require counsel. Counsel's pretty much when someone's appeared with counsel, and for the purposes of representing the taxpayers, you know, due diligence wise, if they're going to have counsel, it's advisable that we have counsel.
So, maybe a question.
I was given this bill, the photometry, and it says in May, and we got a check number that's $17,847. Check number 4525 was paid down, and there's a balance due, apparently it's from May, for $53,547.
I have a bill for $69,000, and it's, that's what I have.
How recent,
That's
how
what
far?
it
In July, it came with a note from the assessor's office, a pile of bills from with Daniel, and a pile of bills, some bills that came with John, and that's what I have, I mean, I'll.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I have, Dan, I mean, that's.
I'm not questioning,
Right.
I'm just trying to.
And then, again, as I explained in our budget meeting, I built in the $70,000 for the ensuing years out of the non-reverting fund, so that, because we're all using it, and because it's becoming an indispensable tool for all of us, for everything we do, I'm covering for the non-reverting for the foreseeable future, so that it doesn't have to come out of the general fund, because it's become as important, I think John can speak to this, it's become as important as our billing system, as our assessing system, PWO uses it, we use it, everybody uses it now.
So what other questions do you guys have? I mean, Sylvia obviously has a question, is the
Is this or not reverting or looking at between?
Yes, this is the budget for the contractual line item.
The whole non-reverting fund
You
itself?
want the software.
Yeah, I can't read this.
So this is the funds, this is the balance, $339,796.
If this is accurate, you're at $339,000 right now, minus what's outstanding.
But everything's caught up.
Yeah, we set up.
Everything's caught up.
Right, you did that for us.
But I mean, everything's been paid, there's no outstanding bills, and you want another $129,000 between now and the end of the year.
Correct.
To pay pictometry, the consultants, the attorneys, et cetera.
Correct.
And you can spend, so now we're looking at $450,000 round up between now and the end of the year, you're gonna spend.
Yes. I mean, what did we spend last year, about $450,000?
No, I don't think that's what, I only caught the last half of the question. Are you thinking that he's wanting to spend 400 and some thousand?
Well,
now to the
he's
end of
got
the year?
$340,000 right now. We give him another $129 and
You're not giving me permission to spend
Yeah,
$129,000.
we're working on it.
So what's the balance that he's allowed to spend?
Well, how much, he's got 339,796.
Just in cash.
So if we,
Okay, what's left in this budget?
25.
How much?
25.
Okay, that's what I want to know. That's the cash balance, what's been appropriated, $2,500.
Right, the $50,000 that this right to will be, basically cover all the bills, and that's why when you asked me if $50,000 get it, it was like, yeah, it's gonna be pretty close, but we can get it pretty satisfied.
We gotta pay the pictometry of between 50 or 70, whatever that number is for sure. You want to consult with attorneys, et cetera.
Out of the 1.6 that this fund has garnered, this council gave you $500,000.
$480,000.
Is that included in your 1.6?
No, it is not.
I understand that attorney's bills are going to come up as we have retained. I understand the county's representation.
It's not just the hearings, and I don't mean to interrupt, but it's not just the hearings. On a daily basis.
Let her
Well, I understand it. But I think some of these contracts are very, very heavy. And it's just kind of a moving target as to what goes that you don't think the fund is gonna be bringing in the kind of money that we
I
need.
didn't say that at all.
Well,
I didn't say that.
I recall you saying.
No, I said that we're
No,
not.
hold on, finish.
Because, you know, the bulk of it is, and now you're going after the multi.
The multifamily, 2% properties. And the comment that I made was we're going to have less of a volume of cases, but the dollar value that those cases represent will be higher. That's actually accurately what I said. So the volume of the cases, but they'll actually be more intricate in terms of, because they're multifamily, which means now you have to ask a certain, how much of the, let's say it's sixplex, how much of the sixplex that person's actually occupying. And then you, not usually, and without reservation, without exception, they all have attorneys involved. So you have our attorney speaking to their attorney to determine in terms of square footage and getting the data from the assessor, because the assessor gets us that data from pictometry and other means, and sometimes we have to send someone out and measure it. But these can become involved. And in fact, it's multi-years, so as we've had before, 1 year they'll grant the homestead, in other 2 years they won't, or a certain percentage of it. It's not all or nothing in some cases. So at least, the point I'm trying to make is that we use Berkestans and Carberry extensively for not just homesteads, but cases where any particular issue with respect to taxation specific to property and the character of property arises, and people come with a lawyer to our office and want, I have a couple of them right now in TIF districts right now, where people have come and they come with their lawyer and don't believe that the 1, 2, 3% has been allocated correctly to their property. And they have every right to challenge that. And so we have to work with the assessor's office, and we have to work with our office to make sure that the calculations are appropriate based upon how the law, what the law says, and what their attorneys are advancing, and what we believe,
Yeah, I think, okay, so what are the questions you have?
I have one.
Sure.
Do you use the same attorney, Jane, that you're, interacting all the time, you guys have the same attorney? The auditor use the same attorney?
No, we do not. And in fact, the attorneys.
Does your attorney ever get involved when his attorney is doing the work too?
Yes, quite often.
So we have two
We're all in the
attorneys.
same room together, yes.
But they're representing two entirely different, the attorney for the PWO is representing the PWO's position on the matter, that Mr. Buckley. And ours is basically representing the people, the taxpayer. So yes, there are two attorneys, but they're not working, with each other. They're basically, each side has representation. And each one is vigorously works to vigorously defend the rights and the responsibilities of their clients.
So, all right, so what other questions do we have? Let's get this going. Do you have any questions?
No, it's just, you're telling me somebody comes in with a question, even if they bring an attorney, you've got to have an attorney right there.
Well, what we can do, specifically what we can do is cite the Indiana Code, but in many cases, the Indiana Code, especially when these are sophisticated business transactions and involving trusts, the Indiana Code is not black and white. And so we have to advance a position on behalf of the taxpayers in defense of the decision that we're making vis-a-vis, and the taxpayer deserves that, I think, that due diligence, because they come in believing that, and they have right to believe that by virtue of the counsel that they've secured, that their interpretation of the law is true.
Everybody lawyers up, we get it.
Yeah,
That's one of the questions, yeah.
Well, just one point I want to make. For years and years, those offices didn't have an attorney. Now they are attorney up.
You also had 7,800 appeals that were behind, that hadn't even been addressed. Well, they have, yes, they have. But my point is that, things weren't happening. They simply.
Now they're happening with attorneys?
Well, they're happening.
Well, I mean, that is the hinge-pin in every great organization, is the lawyer.
We could simply not pursue it. I mean, and some, we could simply do that. I mean, we could just not pursue it, and then there will be no.
I'm gonna take a little exception to that comment. You can pursue it. You have your expert investigator. You don't need an attorney to pursue a lot of this stuff. You don't need an attorney when they bring in an attorney. A lot of this can be handled.
And we do.
Well, you just made the comment, we don't have to pursue it.
No, we don't say we don't have to, if I could speak to the
That's
point.
my comment, you go. We have a motion on the table?
Yes, there it is.
Okay, I will.
Let's get a roll call. Let's just move this up.
Okay. this is on the 120.
129,768.
Ms. Graham,
No.
Ms. Conover,
No,
Mr. Whitten,
No.
Mr. Paparad. No. Mr. Biggs,
Yes.
Mr. Rivas, Mr. Blair.
Yes. Okay, what were you thinking about? That's.
Well, we never paid the photographer, I don't disagree with that, and I think you need a little bit of money for the attorneys when they do come in, and I understand this, I do actually understand this level with the businesses, because they have no, sometimes they get sideways. I'll make a motion for $75,000, and if he has to more, by the end of the year, he can come back and see it. Pay the pictometry and have some money for his attorneys, consultants, or whatever he sees fit. And he can always come back, he has the cash sitting there.
I'm perfectly comfortable with that.
I have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Roll call, please.
Very good. Ms. Conover?
Yes.
Mr. Whitten? Mr. Paparad?
Yes.
Mr. Biggs? Mr. Rivas? Mr. Blair? Ms. Graham?
Yes.
7-0 in the affirmative.
Second read, sir.
I want to get something clear here, everybody. We are not funding the investigator's position for the rest of the year.
Well, this is what we run out.
We're going to, when we come back next meeting and tell that for him.
That's what.
Let's make some more shows out there in the next couple of months.
Well, isn't that what we've been asking, even with commissioners, guys? I mean,
Well,
instead of
exactly.
giving them all of that, I mean.
There was just
we just gotta
majority of
hold
the
that
people here that
clear.
gave $20,000 to the Opera House. They're gonna sit here and about going after tax cheats? Really?
Second read.
Very good. The second reading comes before you for consideration this evening to the Porter County General Fund in the amount of $1,151.26. To the Porter County Seated Fund, $20,000. To the Porter County Auditor Non-Reverting Fund, $75,000. To the Porter County Innkeepers Tax Collection Fund, $2,000. To the Porter County Enbridge Grant, $2,000. And a reduction to the Porter County General Fund for the Porter County Extension Services, amount of $8,000.
Pledge.
Make the motion.
second.
A motion is second on the floor, discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Whitten?
Yes.
Mr. Paparad?
Yes.
Mr. Rivas?
Yes.
Mr. Biggs? Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Ms. Conlon?
Yes.
Thank you. 7-0 in the affirmative.
Under the attorney's report, I'd like to ask our attorney real quick, give us kind of a quick update on the, a quick update on the foundation applications. My conversation with our attorney earlier today was that it was his recommendation that we extend the deadline for the applications to the 10th, and then we have a joint meeting with the commissioners the next week to week the 13th to interview the prospective applicants that have submitted their applications and move forward. So,
Have we actually voted to create the foundation?
yeah.
No, we voted to create this committee.
No, we gave our attorney a motion and a second to vote to create foundation, didn't we, Scott?
Right. I thought there was a vote.
That was the second, we voted earlier to create the foundation, and then we came back and voted to create this committee that then may very well become a board of directors. But he has our vote to create the foundation, and I expect
All
to
those,
move forward.
and I've seen them, I've forwarded those,
Yeah,
those documents and sent out.
we're rolling on that. So we just need to get our committee in place, and that's it. So, yes, is the answer to that question.
Can I ask a question? When we do interviews, are we interviewing all applicants, or are we going to narrow that list down?
Well, I think it's appropriate probably to narrow the list to those that qualify under our guidelines. I think that would probably be the first thing, right? And then,
Right now, I would say all.
yeah, because we get many right now.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess that would depend on how many we had. So maybe what we can do is, if I can get a motion to extend that deadline to the 10th, then once the 10th rolls, we can have access to all the applications that have come in. We can determine at that time if we want to interview all of them or sort
Yeah,
of.
because
clarify, I wanted to say, we don't have, it's not as if we have 50 applications and 7 spots. Right now, we have 9 and 7 spots, so.
I'll make a motion that we extend it to.
Thank you, I'll second that. We all understand the motion to extend the deadline to submit an application to October the 10th.
And then for Michelle to be directed to schedule a joint meeting with the commissioners the week of the 13th if possible.
Maybe we should give them a little more time. I mean, if we get all the applications on the 10th and then we're scheduling a meeting that they have to come to within 7 days, they're pretty busy people.
There's something,
Well, let's take the motion first. We have a motion and a second to extend it to the 10th. And all in favor of the motion, please
no
signify.
discussion, no further discussion.
You want to talk about the 10th? You don't like the 10th? You got some particular problem with the 10th?
Well,
You want to make it longer?
I might, yeah, that might be it, I mean, what are we gonna do different, that we only got 9?
Well, hopefully we get 9 more, I guess. Yeah, it's a good question. How did we advertise this?
Put it in the paper.
Do we think putting it in the paper again?
You put it in a paper or the paper?
This is all
All 3 things.
all three of them.
We put it in the Hebron Shopper.
Is it online, I mean, did we post it on our Facebook page, did we pay for that?
Oh, here we go. with the
The council doesn't have its own Facebook page.
Is there any other I mean, really, is there any other things that we could do to get it further out?
I mean, listen, it had its own article in the paper, all the papers got notified.
Is there any kind of a business webpage that would?
Something, I mean, we got the Chester Tribune and the Post Tribune here, I mean, you guys put it like on a looking for 9 more applicants.
Okay. That was you.
Well, yeah, what are we gonna do different? I mean, we're extending it, but.
I'm with you. So, can we take this in steps? Let's do, so clearly you're not opposed to the idea of extending it. You just have some thoughts that you want to add after the motion dies or.
Yeah, we're gonna wait for time, 10 more days or whatever it is. 13 more days, 14 more days.
So motion is.
Vicky says we're wasting our time.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor of the motion to extend to the 10th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So Jeremy's raised some very thoughtful concerns. So what are we gonna do about getting the web, or the net out further?
We're talking about possibly $100 million before it's gonna oversee. I mean, we shouldn't be quick to say, oh, here's 9, 6, 7.
No, you're right.
I mean,
And that's exactly why I don't want, that's why I'm trying to get some application. However, we want to try to, broaden the net, that's fine. I'm open to suggestions.
Outreach to the chambers and ask them to post on their bulletin boards or bring up in a meeting?
I would think anybody that's a member of the chamber reads the newspaper and is well aware of it.
We can send it to the chamber, no problem. We can post it on the website, which I think is done, but we can renew that.
Facebook.
Which Facebook page would you like?
Porter County.
The animal shelter website? No problem.
So we're gonna send, okay, so we get to the 10th. We have to figure out a way to get that out wider and to get more interest, because we really want the best and the brightest to come and be part of it, because that's the whole idea.
Wall Street Journal?
Yeah.
That's Journal.
I don't know if that's too local, but. Now.
So we certainly want to get the net out wider, because this is gonna be a daunting task for these committee members.
I'm just trying to get as many members, as many applicants as possible, and apply that initial committee, that's all. So we have enough.
That's actually good.
Well, yeah, we should be right to say, we need 7, we gotta have 7, and there's not.
Well, here's the thing, I mean, I guess if we end up saying this is the initial committee, this is the board, so let's say that we only had 5 that we thought passed muster, that's our committee, 5. We don't have to do 7. I mean, unfortunately, that would mean that 5 has to do a little bit more work, because really, the front end is the big part. So, all right. Well, keep us posted on that, Scott, if you would. And if anybody has any ideas, commissioners would like to get that out, send out the bat signal, that would be fantastic. Anything
I
else?
think we should have the next meeting on Halloween, being how things went around here. West. Halloween.
Scott, anything further under attorney's report? Any other matter that may come properly before the council? Hearing none, we are adjourned.